October 28th, 2014, Gulf County Board of County Commissioners now in session.
Okay, join me in prayer. Would you please, Father, thank you for another wonderful, wonderful day you've bestowed upon us. Lord, we ask that you look over this board as it goes about conducting the business of the great people of Gulf County. Lord, we ask that you bless our county. Lord, we ask that you bless the people that's come before the board today and the people that have traveled to come before the board today and see that they get safely back to their homes. Lord, we ask again, as always, that you look over our law enforcement. You look over our military. Look and bless this country. We're sure in a mess. We sure are in a mess. Lord, we ask this all in your Son's precious name. Let's have a pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, everybody got their mics on here. Let's get all this home bit out of the way. Good morning to all. Welcome to the October 28th regular meeting of the Gulf County Board of County Commissioners. If anyone has business before the board today, you will be recognized and you will be given time. At this time, we're going to go. Let me make a quick announcement first. PDC will hold its first annual meeting, 5 o'clock Eastern Time today, Capital City Bank. And this meeting is open to the public. So if anyone would like to go, more than welcome. Thank you. All right, at this time, we will address the consent agenda and the information packet. Does anyone in the audience have any questions concerning the consent agenda or the information packet? If no one would, any of the staff members have any questions or concern with the consent agenda or the information packet? If not, we will turn to the board. Does anyone on the board, any board member have any questions or concern with the consent agenda or the information packet? If none, I need a motion to accept.
So moved to accept.
We have a motion by Commissioner McLemore to accept the consent agenda and the information packet. Second. We have a second by Commissioner Bryan. Any further discussion? Any of the board members, any discussion from anyone in the audience? If no discussion, there's no opposition, this motion passed 4-0 to accept the consent agenda and the information packet. All right, at this time, we're going to the PDR recommendations. Mr. Attorney, you're going to address that, or Mr. Richardson?
I'll take that. Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Following up on October 20th, the most recent planning board meeting, it was properly noticed and advertised. At that meeting, there was one variance application for Brian Riley, parcel ID 06364-004R. It was Gulf Sand, White Sands Drive on Cape San Blas for a 10-foot road setback to meet DEP requirements. The applicant had their agent, Mr. Husband, in attendance, and he is here today as well. There was a quorum of your planning board. There was a consideration of that variance application, and after public comment and discussion by your planning board, they voted 3-0 unanimously to recommend to you as the county commission for the granting of that variance.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right. We have a motion to accept. I have a second to Commissioner McLemore's motion. Accept this variance. Grant this variance.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Bryan. Any further board discussion? Anyone in the audience have any concerns or discussions over this variance? Not, if there's no opposition, variance passes 4-0. Mr. Richardson, you have anything, Mr. Attorney, any other thing here? Okay, now we're going to go to staff. Ms.
I
Robert, you have anything before the board today? What about you, Mrs. Herring? Anything before the board? Thank you. Jenkins? Whitfield? Right, sir. Mr. Paul?
Thank you. Good morning, Mr.
Good
Chairman,
morning. Good
Commissioners.
morning.
I have two things before you this morning. The first is, as the new ship administrator, I have letters that I placed before you requesting approval of the board for the chairman to sign two letters for two rehabilitations. One of them is to Ms. Carla J. Peterson, 214 Avenue B. The other is to Ms. Rosetta D. Parker, 246 Avenue F. These letters say that the maximum spent on the project is $40,000. The reason it says $40,000 per project, according to your LHAP, you have a $40,000 maximum on each rehabilitation. That's why the letter actually says that. In honesty, I don't think we'll spend over $15,000 per unit because all we're doing on each of these units is a new roof, which is direly needed. I've inspected both properties along with the help of the gentleman I replaced, Mr. Brett Lowry, and these are definitely in need. One of them is a very low income category and the other is a low income category, which meets our set-asides for the money that we have available to spend.
So moved to approve, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner McLemore to approve these two. Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
Got a second by Commissioner Smiley. Any further board discussion? Any discussion from anyone in the audience? None? No opposition? Motion passed 4-0.
Thank you,
All right,
Mr.
what do you
Chairman.
have next, Mr.?
Next, on
Paul?
behalf of the Veteran Service Office, I have placed before you an annual report. First thing I'd like to do is thank the board for allowing me to serve the veterans of Gulf County for the past year. It's been an opportunity that I've really enjoyed. During the past year, I've spent 96 days and 960 hours assisting 851 of our county's veterans. That's almost half of the veterans that are actually residing in Gulf County. Some of them, of course, I've seen more than one time because they've had to bring me other information. We have been able, through this effort and through you keeping a veteran service officer employed here, we've been able to increase the income to the county from veterans receiving either compensation or pension from $5,794,000 last year to a total of $6,299,373 this past year, which is an increase of revenue to this county of $505,000. Now, this only covers the 1,772 veterans that are actually in the VA system receiving either compensation or pension. It does not include the retired veterans that live in this area that are receiving retired pay, who are not in the VA healthcare system and have the good health that they do not have to actually enter the VA system. I am endeavoring to try to find that total number through DFAS, the Defense Accounting and Finance Service, and they tell me they should be able to give me a report by the end of the year with how many total veterans we have receiving retired pay in the area, which would add to our increase of veterans. Now, you know, we've all heard through the media the negative things that are going on within the VA system. I can tell you that Secretary McDonald is working extremely hard to turn the VA around. And there's actually a lot of things the VA's done that a lot of people don't realize. And I'd like to just cover a few quick ones for you. If I run out of time, let me know and I'll speed up. There are currently 9 million veterans enrolled to receive health care within the VA system. 9 million veterans enrolled. There are 278,000 employees within the VA system. Little known facts are VA doctors were the first to develop the implantable cardiac pacemaker. VA doctors conducted the first successful liver transplant. VA doctors identified the genetic risk factors for schizophrenia, Alzheimer's, and Werner's syndrome. They also proved that the 1 aspirin a day that a lot of us take reduced by half the rate of death and non-fatal heart attacks in patients with unstable angina. And a very little known fact, 70% of all doctors in the United States receive training at a VA hospital. Lastly, just this last week, the Department of Veterans Affairs has announced that it will begin accepting applications by mail on Monday, November 3rd for the Fry Scholarship under the newly expanded eligibility criteria to include surviving spouses. In the past, the Fry Scholarship was only available to children of veterans who were killed while on active duty. The expanded criteria for this scholarship is the latest in the series of VA actions to conform with the CHOICE Act. This is for spouses of veterans, of course, who were killed while on active duty after September 10, 2001. This will enable spouses and children to receive an education, allowing them to achieve a more stable lifestyle. This is a monumental achievement within the VA system. Again, I thank you very much for this rewarding opportunity. Hope I can continue to do it for a long time to come.
Mr. Paul, thank you for the job that you do here for the county and for our veterans. Truly, you do a marvelous job for us, and we are very appreciative of it.
Thank you.
This was very educational. I wasn't aware of some of the information that you presented today, but thank you and keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Let's come on around to, was that all, Joe?
Yes, sir.
Sure, okay. Ms. Kopinski.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am here this morning to give our first report from the Economic Development Coalition. The report is kind of lengthy, so I'm not going to hit every single topic. I just will tell you over the last quarter, we have 6 prospects that we're working with. We actually have 2 additional that we've talked to since this report was done for the EDC meeting in October. We also are working, we had met with DEP regarding the NERDA projects that are upcoming, and although that will be handled through the state, he did give us a good understanding that they will try to hire local. It will be short-term jobs, but they're going to try to hire local contractors and subs here to give as much of that work as they can to the residents. Same with the PACES Foundation. We met with them as well, and there will be hopefully quite a few short-term jobs with local subs, and then once the project is finished, I believe they said they will have 2 long-term jobs there in the facility to begin with. And that's kind of what's on the first page there. We also have a couple of requests. I received a resolution from Opportunity Florida that's actually a part of this package, and they're requesting that the county adopt this resolution. It's in support of redesignation of the rural areas of opportunity. It's formerly known as RACIC, which is the Rural Areas of Critical Economic Concern. That is set to end, and we need, they're asking that the board adopt this resolution, asking that that be continued, and that we also continue enterprise zones, because those are
Sure.
those are set to sunset as well. I don't know if you want to handle that separately, and then I do have a couple of other letters that the EDC has requested that the board approve, so I don't know if you want to handle them all at one time, or if you want to do them one at a time. You just,
Wishes of the board, yes, I recognize it.
Mr. Turner, can we do them all at one time?
I would encourage you just to do the resolution by title and then move on to the letters.
Okay,
So moved to do the resolution.
resolution, okay. Motion to put the resolution. I have a second to this motion. Got a second by Commissioner Miley. Further board discussion concerning this resolution. Anyone from the audience? Any concern with it? Opposition from the board. Motion passes 4-0. All right, continue.
the next things I have are letters that we're requesting the county send to Senator Munford and Representative Beshears, and there's actually 3 different issues that we would like for them to address, and I don't know if you want to send them in separate letters or if you want to combine them into one, but one that we would request is on the Gulf Coast Parkway. I know the county has submitted letters to DOT regarding the alternate route for the Gulf Coast Parkway and where the county would where it would be more beneficial to the county for the economic reasons. And we would like to pass those along to Senator Munford and Representative Bashir as well.
One is on the Gulf Coast Park.
Gulf Coast Parkway. The next is also on the Enterprise Zone to ask that it be extended. And the other is on the rural area of opportunity. And that's your 9 counties plus the city of Freeport to ask that that be continued as well. Because those are very, very important to economic development in this county.
Motion to support that in all 3 of them.
All right, we have a motion. Support all 3 of these. Have a second by Commissioner Smiley. Any further board discussion? Want any audience, any concerns, discussions on this matter? If not, we'll come back to the board. If there's no opposition, motion passes 4-0 for these 3 letters to the
And-
senator and representative.
The other, one other thing I would like to discuss from the report is the Enterprise on Development Agency. I have taken over the reporting for that, and over the last quarter, I just did quarter from July through September, and we actually provided technical assistance to 7 potential businesses. We had 5 new jobs that were created, and we had 4 new businesses that opened over the last quarter. I do have the annual report for last year as well, if anybody would like to see that. But I will be doing the quarterly EZDA report as well as the economic development.
All right.
I have my statement,
Sure,
Mr. Chairman, on this. This comes from a lady that a commissioner made a statement that said was untrainable. Look what she's producing already. I just want to throw that out there. You're doing a good job. Keep it up.
That all, Ms. Capel?
I have.
Or you, wait a minute.
Well, clearly, this is a false statement. I'm not going to waste the public's time dealing with this commissioner, but I have a separate statement to make that I would like to have those reports of the new businesses sent by email at your convenience so that we're aware of the new businesses that are coming in and we can touch base with them as well.
And actually, on these 4, they did not go through EDC. These are some that actually had the ribbon cutting. Some of them went through the chamber. One of them did. A couple of them took out their own ads in the paper, but they were reported as new businesses in the enterprise zone.
So that report,
And I can actually give you the names of the businesses if you like.
I don't want you to create anything new, but when you send that report, if you would just copy the commissioners, I would imagine that most of these commissioners would like to know that there's new businesses in our community so that we can welcome them.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Yes,
Is that all,
ma'am.
Commissioner? Is that it?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. David?
Yes, sir, we're going to be wrapping up the capital improvement schedule pretty soon. If any commissioners or staff needs anything added relate to the 5-year plan, please let us know so we include them. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Summer?
Yes, sir, I do have a couple things.
Sure. Hey, pull the mic over there, David.
Oh, I was loud enough.
Please.
I have a modified joint participation agreement with FDOT for the resurfacing of County Road 30B and the construction of Jarrett Daniels Road. They were previously approved in July. DOT modified some of the wording. They originally had 75% in their amount, and they just changed it, took the 75% out and just put the actual dollar amount in both of those agreements. Nothing
Both?
changed other than that. Yes, sir.
Okay. All
And I
right.
just need approval on those modified agreements.
All right, need a motion on the modified agreement.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner McLemore, second by Commissioner Smiley. Any further discussion with the board? Anyone in the public discussion on this matter? If not, if no opposition, motion passes 4-0.
Okay, and I have one other thing. I received notification yesterday for the 2015-16 FERDAP funding cycle, and the deadline is Friday, the 31st of October,
When did you receive it?
yesterday, at
From?
9:34 yesterday morning.
From?
We actually got the notice from Bill Nelson's office. We did not get the notice from DEP. I don't know why we didn't, actually, it didn't come to me, it actually came to Twan and Mr. Butler, and they forwarded it to me. But what we would like to do, I talked with Mr. Butler on it yesterday, and since we don't have but a couple of days to get it done, I'd like to request permission to submit the last two applications that were applied for, which was the Honeyville Park and the Dead Lakes Park, because we don't have but 2 days to get this done. And those were previously applied for but were not awarded. And we already have those, so,
It was applied for, what, a year, 18 months ago or so? Anyway, it's been,
okay,
So moved, Mr.
those were
Chair.
not awarded.
is that it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, motion over by Commissioner Blackamore, second by Commissioner Smiley. Any other more discussion on this? Anyone from the public on it? If no opposition, motion passes 4-0. Ms. Sumner, when this meeting's over, you go to work on that.
I will.
Thank you, dear.
And that's
Thank
all I
you.
have.
Is that all you have? Mr. Hammond, you have anything this morning? Novak?
Mr. Chairman, in the back of your information packets, if you can turn to them,
It was a page.
pages 3 through 4. You'll see the first one is a policy that you all instructed us to submit with regards to term limits and the amendment. At your last meeting, you all voted unanimously to extend your term limit policy and add the additional provision that someone could stay on past 2 continuous terms with the unanimous support of the county commission and with them properly applying. So that's in there for your review and comment, as well as the public comment, and then for your consideration to adopt that amendment.
Mr. Chair, may I
Okay.
correct
recognize the
this?
chair.
Let me correct the attorney.
Commissioner.
It was not a unanimous support on the board. I was one that voted against this.
Apologize. And I misspoke. Unanimous support to add that person. It needs to be a 5-0 vote going forward. So I apologize, it's correct. It's unanimous going forward to add someone for a third term.
I know.
Not to.
Sure.
We don't-
Yeah, and the recommendation
Okay.
to extend.
All right, okay, clear. All right. We have a motion to extend this.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bryan,
I thought this was just.
information packet.
If the commission so chooses to adopt it today, you can, following public comment as a policy. That's correct.
We'll go through the procedure if we just adopt it today, or she can, Commissioner Bryan can,
Why don't we give the public time to look it over like you said first and bring it back before the board?
Well, it did go out in the information packet, so it has been disseminated. So my motion stands to approve the amendment that we voted on at the last.
okay?
We haven't been taking stuff out the information package, voting on it. To approve stuff out of the information package.
Can do that. Can do that.
Yes, sir, and
DRB.
yes, this memo memorializes your instructions from 2 weeks ago, and the instructions of the commission, I believe 4-1, was to come back to you all with this policy, and then you'll see in my recommendations in the top of the memorandum, following your discussion today, and after you follow your ordinance, giving the public an opportunity to comment on it, you can vote on it and adopt the policy today. What you're doing is you're just amending your 12-year-old policy for that additional provision, and following up on those TDC discussions.
But here we go again.
Hold on. Let me recognize you. Go ahead, go ahead.
Here we go again. I mean, if we was gonna pass it today, why didn't we just put it in the agenda? I think, it was in the information package, and let's leave it in the information package and come back and take care of it at the next meeting, put it in the agenda.
Let me come back over to the commissioner that made the motion.
I would assume that it was placed in the information packet and not in the consent agenda so that it is up for discussion and for public comment individually from the consent agenda. And it is this amendment to our existing policy for board appointments that we did discuss and vote on at the last commission meeting, whereby it gives us the opportunity as a board to grant an additional term past the two-term limit with a unanimous vote by the board for those board appointees, because we do have a limited pool to choose from. You did vote for it last time.
I understand that I voted for it, but what I'm trying to say is,
You just want to buy some time, let me interject.
what I'm saying is,
If-
back in the past, when we took stuff and started voting on it that was not in the agenda, it was a big problem. Now here we go, and again, we taking stuff, if it's gonna work one way, let's let it work one way. If it's not gonna work, let's not change it when you want to change it. I'm not saying nothing wrong with the letter. I'm just saying, most of the stuff that we bring before the board, it's not in this information, it's not in this agenda. It seems to be a big problem to vote on it. So now, we accepted that if it ain't in the agenda,
All right,
I
Mr. Attorney,
I think I
you
can
give
help,
us an
Commissioner, too.
interpretation on this, please.
If you look at the bottom of page 3, closely in the bottom right corner, and then on page 4, you'll see that it was originally stamped, and I had actually specifically made the request to Ms. Lanier and Mr. Butler. The consent for non-controversial items that are subject to your approval, but will be placed in the consent. This issue was before you all for over a month and a half, so I don't want to say it's not controversial, but it was up for debate. And I had asked Ms. Lanier to actually place it in the information packet to give you all an ability to discuss it and make any modifications. So you can see, Commissioner Smiley, it was originally, I had provided that it would have been placed in the consent, but for the fact that we wanted your additional comment. So that was the only thing. It's more of a semantic than anything else. Unless you have any changes, then it goes in.
and I understand everything you just said. So if we wait just a little bit longer, but it'll affect it.
Okay. Let me come back over here. to-
I just have one more comment, and it's the Commissioner's choice not to second the motion. However, I think that your argument is interesting when at every commission meeting for the 2 years that I've been on this board, including today, we vote and you make motions and second items that are not on the agenda or the information packet that are placed before us immediately before the vote, and that nobody has had a chance to look at. This was put in the information packet. If you don't want to second it, that's fine, but your argument makes no sense.
Chair? That's what I'm saying. You complain about us doing it that way, now you want to do it that way.
It's there.
All right. You have a motion, we have a motion on the floor to approve by Commissioner Bryan. Do I hear a second? I hear a second. Second. Motion failed for lack of second.
Mr. Chairman,
Now,
if I
back
can,
over here.
like I said, do you want to provide me further direction or public comment? What, you want to put it in the next packet? Is there anything you want me to modify in the policy? Just, if you can give me some further direction, I'd be happy to do
I don't
that.
see anything wrong
Let's just
here.
get it in the agenda.
Just put it in the next,
Let's put it in the agenda.
okay. Mr. Chairman, the second memorandum and policy recommendation that you instructed us with the last meeting was with regards to surplusing property over and under $5,000. As I highlighted, Statute 125 gave you the ability to find the most efficient and cost-effective way to surplus inventoried property of the county for under $5,000. And so the policy here gives you that ability and lays out the steps that would be followed by the staff going forward on that surplus.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner McLemore,
I second.
second by Commissioner Smiley. Is there any further board discussion? Yes, anyone from the audience? Sure, you're recognized.
What you just seconded, Commissioner Smiley, is in the information packet, just like the last one. I just think that's an interesting observation.
Yeah, okay.
I second.
All right, I think we've got to hear any further board discussion. Anyone from the audience have any input on this? If not, is any opposition on the board? If not, this motion passed 4-0. Thank you. Next.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Butler?
Mr. Chairman, this is a letter from Kim Bodine with a career source. I had a conversation with Ms. Bodine
Oh,
yesterday.
just a minute. Give the board member just a moment.
Okay.
View this. Okay, continue.
Mr. Chairman, the the letter is from Kimberly Bodine. She's the Executive Director of the Gulf Coast Career Source. She is recommending that the county EDC nominate Joanna White. She works with Cadence Bank to serve on the board of directors of Gulf Coast Career Source. And I had a conversation with Kim yesterday. Also had a conversation with, this letter was sent to Christy McElroy, the chair of the EDC. Had a conversation with Christy and also with Kim. And Kim told me that since the EDC falls under the wing of the county commission, that this could come from the county commission and not have to wait till the next EDC meeting. So I'm putting this in front of you today, the board's consideration of placing Joanna White, nominating her for the board of directors of Career Source. That's all this is.
Now, let me get clarified on this. The board normally, the Gulf County Economic Development Advisory, EDC board, clarify now, are you wanting us to approve this member? Or this nominee? That was what we would call her, wasn't it? Yeah, because we're replacing Blaylock.
Yeah, this vacancy was created by the resignation of board member
Blaylock.
Patty Blaylock. And what Kimberly Bodine is recommending is that typically the EDO of the county will nominate. In this case, she is recommending a name, being Joanna White.
Okay?
And I had the comment, that's the reason I called her and talked to her about this yesterday. And she said, Gulf County is a little bit different, have a lot of not-for-profits being EDAs and EDOs in the counties. In this county, Gulf County, the EDA falls under the county commission. And since it does fall under the county commission, she said the county commission could nominate this person.
Okay.
Or we could wait till the next EDA meeting and let them make a nomination to you, but for your consideration.
Okay, thanks. Wishes of the board. Sure.
Question for
I hear.
Mr. Butler. I think we need to be very careful with this. We have an opening on the board. Are they not required to go through the same policy that we've been discussing with the application, and stuff like that?
Typically, the county commission is not required an application for those nominations to these outside, if you were to call this an outside agency. This is not a board agency, this is outside.
I'd like for them to nominate then under that condition. Keeps us out of it.
Motion.
Motion to let them nominate it.
I'll second that motion, meaning the Economic Development Council.
All right, we got a motion by Commissioner McLemore, second by Commissioner Bryan. Any further board discussion on this? Anyone in the audience have any input? Not? No opposition? Pass 4-0.
Mr. Chairman, next item is due with the Restore Act consultant. You advertise for proposals, number 1415-01. And pursuant to that, we received two proposals, one from Dewberry, one from Arian Dede. Studied them over the weekend. Mr. Attorney has reviewed the two proposals. Mr. Hammond has reviewed the two proposals. And I would need the attorney to give me a hand on this recommendation, but recommendation would be for, you only received two, is to let Dewberry, it's Dewberry Consultants LLC, be your consultant for Restore.
Okay.
And then also, second part would be to contract with Ms. Dede for a not-to-exceed amount for some technical assistance we may need. She has proved her ability. She helped change some rules and get some rules changed with the Treasury when we're trying to figure out Treasury rules. But it's a two-part. The Restore Act money would be paying for Dewberry, and they're working in other Florida counties, and also the not-to-exceed $5,000 would not necessarily be Restore money. It would be money to pay Ms. Dede for technical assistance for other Restore work to be done, and applications to be made, and help us. There's still some rules, Treasury rules have not been decided totally yet, and to help along those lines. But I'd ask Mr. Attorney to give me a hand on that, where I may left some gaps in that to fill in the gaps. But recommendation, one to hire Dewberry and to be paid our Restore money, and the second part would be to hire Arian Dede for a not-to-exceed amount for technical assistance work.
All right, now, let's switch over. Is that all, Mr. Butler? Right there
Yes, sir.
on this?
Yes, sir.
Now, let's go back over here. Go back.
Sure, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, as you all recall, one of the parts required by the Restore Act is this multi-year implementation plan. And in the process of now getting the county ready to do that with your Restore Act committee that has been working on this for the last 2 years, we put the advertisements out. We received two proposals, responses to the RFQs. And as Mr. Butler had indicated, they're both outstanding presentations, and they're both very qualified. Both of the vendors or consultants are working throughout the 8 counties in the Panhandle with various counties. There's a lot of similarities in the proposals. I think our RFQ is very specific about what kind of assistance we're going to need on the multi-year plan. And I think the RFQ responses addressed Gulf County specifically, how far we've come along, and where we need to take the planning from here on. There are a couple distinctions in the RFQ responses and reviewing them. The Dewberry Group, as consultants, at least appeared in its presentation, is much more equipped to help the county with the multi-year plan. And their rate schedule, to have an opportunity to negotiate a contract with them, the funding for Dewberry to pay them as your consultant would come directly from the Restore funds, which is built into the Act. When I say the distinctions, Ms. Dede and her team of consultants are more equipped in its review to help the county specifically with its Treasury rule compliance and the technical aspects of staying in adherence to the Restore Act. They've been instrumental in working with the Gulf County Consortium and the state team with the Treasury rule over the last year and a half, and going to the various consortium meetings and listening to their presentations. Ms. Dede, as an attorney and a planner, has that skill set. And I'd like to recommend that Dewberry give us the opportunity to negotiate a contract with them for the multi-year plan. But as Mr. Butler had indicated, Ms. Dede's firm have the ability to bring them on as a technical consultant for a budget not to exceed $5,000, and give us the ability to call upon them if the need arises. And that would not be necessarily the restore funds, that would be the county's funding of that.
All right,
And I'd be happy to answer any questions for the commission as
Sure.
well.
That's one there. Dewberry, are they, of the 8 counties in the Panhandle, are they representing any of the other counties?
Right now, I know they're working in Escambia. They're working with the West Florida Management Board. They were actually working with the Florida DEP. And then they have a list of their past clients as well as current clients in their presentation as well. But I would say they're intimately involved in all the planning stages right now. In their proposal as well, one of the things what we required was to give us a layout of how they would go about implementing that plan. And you all went through this habitat conservation planning in the last year with a consultant. One of the things we required of that consultant was to provide the county a step-by-step process of how we're going to start putting this plan in place. And Dewberry has laid that out, emphasizing obviously that they're going to go through the commission ultimately to have anything approved, but to work with your staff and also your 11 members of your RAC committee. It's all in their proposal.
Okay. Is that all?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner McLemore to approve recommendation. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Smiley. All right. Any board discussion?
I have a
Okay, you're
Comment.
recognized. Go. The other folks.
Here we have a situation where we're going to enter into a multi-year contract with someone we've put out for proposals, and we have nothing in front of us. We've seen nothing. And it was not in the agenda, and I think that this is a big enough issue that this is something that should be reviewed. And we just had discussion on this board that if something is in the information packet, it hasn't risen to the level of the agenda, although it is put out for public consumption, and that cannot be voted on, and it's something we've clearly discussed in detail at prior meetings, and it's just amending our current policy. Now we have this multi-year contract that we're going to enter into, and we have nothing to look at, and we're just going on verbal recommendations. I think that this is something that needs to be set on the agenda for the next meeting, and we need to also see these proposals. This is why the people elect us. They don't elect us to handle getting the right-of-ways mowed on Tuesday or Wednesday. That is what the staff should be handling, that there's a schedule of those kind of items being addressed and being done properly. This is why they elect us. Budget items, spending money, hiring contractors, entering into contracts, it's completely upside down. And I'm going to ask this board to wait on voting on this, give us a chance to see these proposals. I don't know if Dewberry needs the technical consultant up to $5,000 of county funds. Those are county funds. They're not Restore Act funds. There is no possible way that, based on the information that we've received today, that any one of us can make an educated decision here. So I'm going to ask this board to wait on voting on this.
I don't have no problem with waiting. That's what the commissioner would like to do. I don't have a problem. If she want to get herself educated on it.
Like to just withdraw your second on this?
I
motion?
withdraw.
I don't.
I want to
Okay.
withdraw my second. So
Okay.
the commissioner can get herself educated, because I hope that she take the time out to come out and talk to the staff to find out exactly what's.
I've looked over it. I have. Anyway, let me get it this note. So you're going to withdraw the second. Go. You've withdrawn your second. I don't want to I'm not putting words in your mouth.
Well, I would like to withdraw my second.
Okay.
But I would also like for the commissioner to take time out to come out and get with the staff so
Okay,
she
all right,
can
wait a
get
minute.
what,
Okay,
what we done got.
I'm with you, but you've withdrawn your second, okay.
And
Now, sure.
I would
come right
like
here.
to see the proposals. I would like to be provided the proposals to look at. I'm happy to return them, but I would like to look at the proposals prior to the next meeting. And I would also like for it to be in the agenda so the public knows it's something that we are voting on.
Okay, now, back over here to the commission made the motion.
Yeah, here's the only problem with this. If I think I'm correct with this, we won't meet at this board meeting for another month. This is something that we should have been doing yesterday. We should have been doing it a long time ago. So what this is going to do, this is going to delay us. Probably going to cost us money in the long run by you not doing your homework and your job.
Now, may I, Mr. Chairman? Now, again, you can go on with your theatrics. I'm not going to waste the public's time with it. However, this isn't going to cost us money. There are plenty of counties that are not even at this stage yet. This is an important decision, and if it means that we have to meet ahead of time, then we meet ahead of time. But I think this can wait until the next regularly scheduled county commission meeting. And it rises to that level, this type of a contract.
All right. I hear withdrawing your second.
I withdraw my second, hoping that the commissioner will come out and do her homework.
Didn't we
I
hear
mean,
that this just
yes.
came in over the weekend? And I was not aware that they came in. I would like to be provided, again, as I've said many times, for 2 years, that I would like to be notified and provided of information. I do not operate that, as Commissioner McLemore has suggested, that I should go into the county administrator's office and look around and find out what's in there.
Just a
phone call will work.
Let's hold down right here. Let's come back over here. And we're going to,
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, the proposals came in, I think, 4:30 Thursday afternoon. Your policy is that I make a recommendation to you, that I review and I make a recommendation. So it's nothing I'm doing outside of your policy. My recommendation, I did carry them home with me Thursday when I left. I started them at home this weekend. The others, I left them on my table for the attorney and Mr. Hammond, and they came in, they reviewed the proposals. My recommendation to you is, I mean, it's based on your policy, is for me to review and recommend to you. And my recommendation is, as in order, Dewberry and Dede, in that order.
I'd like to clarify that a recommendation is a recommendation. It's not a decision, that the board is not to review, look at the information. Recommendation by the staff is something that the board considers along with the information.
all right. Any other second on this? All right. Motion dies for lack of a second.
Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. Sheriff, anything? Chairman, thank you. All right, we're going to run through here right quick. I think we're moving along fairly good this morning.
Real good, keep going.
All right, I got you. Okay. Mr. Bryan, we'll go first with you. We're into board business. Go with you.
I just would like to revisit the issue that we talked about last meeting regarding Trey Lane. I know there's been some work done. I spoke with Mr. Hiscock this morning and would like to know if staff has been able to come up with any solutions regarding our policy and this unrecorded plat, that apparently some of the roads are maintained and some of them are not.
You want to address that, or you want to address it?
I'll certainly start. We myself, along with Mark and Lee, we made a stab at trying to figure out that subdivision. That's an unrecorded subdivision. It was put in place prior to your April 1998 subdivision ordinance. Subsequent to that, the county commission has acted to do some work, some limited work on Carr Lane and one or two other roads in that subdivision. Subsequent to that, there's the county commission decided to pave like 3 roads and maintain another road in that subdivision. One of those roads in the subdivision being Trey's, I think it's plural, Trey's Lane, has blue signs indicating a private road. My understanding, Mark gave the direction to work crew to go in and cut. He goes in, he cuts the right-of-way, the paved right-of-way. He did not cut the paved right-of-way on the one road that had a blue sign on it, knowing it was a private road. So for one to go in, it's hard to tell without last 15 years worth of knowledge of what has been approved by the county commission, what has not been approved, but some of those roads in subdivision have been accepted by the county commission, some have not been. And when I say accepted, when you pave a road, I'm saying you accepted that road. But so the road, there was a road apparently got cut, and I'm assuming the work crew cut it.
Now,
But
go ahead.
But I mean, it could have been somebody with a bush hog cut it. I don't know. But there's no one lives on that road. There's a stretch of road between Carr and Trey's Lane,
A paved
road.
street or road or whatever.
Yeah, when you
Okay.
turn off Pleasant Rest Road onto
I don't-
Cars, the county did pave that road, and the next 2 roads to the right, the county paved those in that same subdivision. So, the road that got cut, the grass that got cut, whoever cut the grass on that road, was on a paved road. No one lived on that road. It's a block long. No one lives on that road. And if I could just further recommend to you that the board consider it, you can't go out and just wholesale take all these substandard roads in the county, but at least these 2 roads this road has been paved. And no indication it was paved with county money, but it has been paved. And so it may be one of those, if you ever take roads in a subdivision under county ownership, you've already taken half or more than half of these roads in this subdivision. If you were to take one, that'd be one to take if it is built properly. It looks like it was. I haven't been in there in the last 20 years, but apparently it was built properly. It looks like, according to what I understand, the road is in good shape. But, so, Mr. Bryan, I'm not sure what happened, what didn't happen, but we had found out indication that the county does own and maintain the majority of roads in that subdivision. And the one that Mr. Hiscock lives on apparently is a private road because it's got a blue sign on it.
Okay.
So, by all accounts, it appears, I'm not an expert on paved roads, but it appears to be a quality road, for lack of a better word. And if we are maintaining these other roads in the subdivision and we're uncertain of when they were paved by the county, what the process was, why the county paved certain roads, clearly this road was paved. I guess my question was, is there a process that Mr. Hiscock can go through to see about getting this road, if it is up to county standard, to get it adopted, if we are out there maintaining the other roads? He feels like he's not getting the equal treatment because we're maintaining some roads and not his road. And visually, other than the blue sign, he doesn't see a difference.
Okay.
I think, Commissioner, you hit the key words. If it's up to county standards, that's not a big deal. And what that would keep would be opening the floodgates to every road that's substandard. And the road, Mark tells me the road looks pretty good. And this road does, if you look at the original plat that Gulf County Board of Commissioners had nothing to do with because it was an under-recorded plat, what was platted and what's out in the real world is 2 different things. what was planted a long time ago and what it looks like today is two different things. But to me, it would be reasonable if the county commission, the owner of the subdivision being Billy Carr, has indicated to Lee and Mark last week that he would like the county to take the roads. So you got the owner would like to give the road up, and the road has been paved and is in good condition. So I would say with that key element, if it meets county standards, then you're not really losing a lot. It's not like taking a mud road somewhere.
Do we have a procedure for Mr. Carr to go through to accomplish this?
There's no written procedure other than I would say if he want to make a written request to the county commission.
Let me address over here, Mr. Cawthorn. Been out on Trey's Lane, and some of it's paved, some of it's not paved. Back there.
The portion off of Pleasant Rest Cemetery Road is a dirt road.
Dirt, and then it turns into paved and runs in front of the blue house that this gentleman lives at, and that's about it. I think it's just you call a cover sack there to turn around, but I know from first portion in is not paved.
That's right.
Okay, and I don't understand. Of course, like you said, pre-98, I don't know what their ideas was, why they didn't pave it all the way through. I don't know, that's not. I just want to make sure that you and I are on the same page on this particular street or road. As far as the other one, what's the name of it? Does it even have a name? I don't think it's even named. Now, it could have been very well cut with a county could have been out there with a bush hog. We could have cut it. I don't know that. Or some individual around there could. I don't know. Talking about what our mower, our tractor mower that we have a county employee on. I don't know. Anybody know? I don't know. You couldn't prove by me it's even been mowed by any county employee. But you haven't, back over here. Your questions and all, so let me go back over here. We revisit this Trey Lane. Do you have any
I just think that we need to work towards some type of a policy regarding private roads. Some of them have been around a long time, but we get newer private roads, and we need to have some type of a policy of how the county's going to handle the private roads, if we're going to maintain them or not, and the limited maintenance agreements that are put in place. I think that it's something that should be policy rather than having several of those. I do understand that there's a place for those in certain situations, but I don't think it's the solution for all the issues with private roads. For example, Spruce Avenue. And I still, just to reiterate, I had sent an email, Mr. Butler, to you and also Mr. Novak, asking for a copy of that limited maintenance agreement for Spruce Avenue, and I have not received that. So if y'all could send me that at your convenience with Ms. Serber. I just think that this is something that we owe the public to handle in an equitable way, rather than some people get it and some people don't. We know what the rules are, then the public can know what the rules are.
Commissioner, if I can, I know you guys have talked about a policy. If the commission goes in that direction, just as what's transpired in the last 2 weeks, the staff, the research, the resources that you invest in it, a policy can work just as long as it's not a blanket policy. It would have to be fact-specific, and taking into consideration your subdivision ordinance and all the county roads prior to that, and the research that's being done by staff. As they come up, the policy probably I would encourage you to address each of them on a case-by-case basis, if it is under a policy. Specifically with regards to Mr. Hiscox, you can access on paved roads to his property. The question then is, aside from Carr Lane, is how is the other paved road and going prior to 1998, whether it was paved or not. The one access to Mr. Hiscox off of Pleasant Rest is unpaved, so there's a paved way in and an unpaved. I think through the research, it's pretty obvious that the unpaved is obviously not a county road. The question then is, half of that paved system is established as county, and then through the research, they figured out the other part. If a policy is implemented that gives the staff the ability to go through it, possibly make a recommendation to you as a commission, and as the policy I'd sent you 2 weeks ago about abandonments and requests, something a similar structure to that, where you have people come, ask you, they go through that evaluation process, and then after that, you have Mr. Carr's consent on this specific one, you'd put those stop gaps in place so that you have the approval of the private road owner. It is inspected by staff, similar to your subdivision ordinance, and then it's approved in a formal setting in this meeting. But prior to 1998, as we all look at this plat, you have a combination of 3 different road systems.
And
You know,
I
and so-
understand that it gets convoluted, but in that situation of having some type of a procedure that someone like Mr. Hiscock, who is unsure of why his road is not being maintained, was maintained at one point, the road next to him is maintained, that he can see what that procedure is and come to the county instead of having to call around and we're all trying to figure out what's going on. I just think going forward, that type of procedure would be helpful not only to those of us that are here at the county, but also to the public.
Okay, let me say something on that. In the past, before 1998, people, and before we don't like rules and regulations, sometimes you have to have them because we're in a situation right here like this. I know I represented that area out there, paved, unpaved. Up in District 2, I have county road, paved, 100 yards of it, not paved. Got to send a motor grader all the way up the north end of the county to grade up, probably no further than from here to right out. I don't even think it goes as far as 71 out there. We have our team now. I know another situation last week came up, paved, not paved, and I asked our staff to see. Landowner says the county road continues on. Well, I don't know that, so that's what we got the staff for, to search out and see. Why did we just pave to this point and stop? We're talking about county road now, and not pave it all the way. Is that county? I don't know, so we turned our staff to figure out. But we have a lot of situations that got started. We're on top of it now. Before you can, or we'll accept the subdivision, it has to meet all the requirements and all the rules and regulations. But all these people go out and build 2 houses out there and then run to the county wanting us to pave it where they could sell the rest of the lot at high dollar. So the county wised up, said no. But we're still, these others, the older ones, are not going away, and we got to walk very carefully and try to, and we've got our staff people right now working. I know Mr. Carter, and I asked him, I wanted every road, every county road in this county, how wide it was, how long it was. And he's working, and he can't do that overnight. It takes a little bit of time to go research this. So anyway, yes, we've got problems. We have, we'll continue. How do we address them? That's, all right, Commissioner, you're the one that come up. Do you have any further on this, or anybody got any solutions, or just for information for us, or what? Sure, okay, go right over here.
I would say we'll probably get some guidance out of the subdivision ordinance, got some good language in it, in order since April 1998, in order for the county to accept, or to approve a subdivision, whether it's private or public roads, they have to be built to a standard. And that could be some language we could use in a policy for these roads prior to that subdivision ordinance that meets that same standard.
And could we potentially have the right folks go out to make that determination and look at Trey's Lane and let us know where we stand with that road?
And yeah, that's pretty much what we do, even on a new subdivision. after it's been maintained for a period of time by ordinance, we make a look at it. Typically, the road department superintendent or his designee will take a look at it and say, yes, it's been maintained properly for the past year, or no, it has not. And if it has been maintained and built to standard, then we start maintaining. So I think that would be a reasonable way of doing it.
Okay, anything else? But that's all. Commissioner McLemore?
I'm good, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Good. All right, we're moving along here pretty good. Commissioner Holly?
Yes, I got a few things I'd just like to speak on. 4 years ago, when I first come on as a county commissioner, I had lots of different things that I wanted to get achieved. One of my first objectives was to get the Washington Recreation Center reopened after it was closed by commissioners of the city of Port St. Joe. We got the Recreation Center reopened with the help of the Workforce Board. Also, in reopening of the Recreation Center, we brought in a resource center. That resource center had within it the ability for people to go out and look for jobs on the computer, had the ability for people to go out, research on the computers, file for social service on the computers, file for unemployment on the computers. Through the Workforce Board with Ms. Kim, through the help with the WIG and the Workforce Board, created a food bank to help out lots of different people. During that time, the Recreation Center was reopened, and we put in a summer program that dealt with at least 100 to 150 kids during the summer. Kids learn how to swim. Kids learn how to get along together. During that summer, we also put a kitchen in at the Recreation Center that it was amazing that the kitchen that the Workforce Center helped us put in. Workforce Board helped us put in at the Recreation Center. So I was very thankful of that. We also started working with the SHIP program that was on the life support system when I first come on. We helped 7 people to receive homes. We have helped numerous of people to get rehabs. And I feel real good about that right there. And 2 more today. With the help of the city commissioners, we went out for a grant to do work on Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard, a man who's honored by lots of us. Doing the work on Martin Luther King Boulevard helped brought it up just a little bit more to standard. Water don't stand on that street no more. Water runs off of that street, goes in the proper place that it should go. With the help of the commissioners, the city commissioners, I want to say thank you for that. I also want to thank the commissioners for going after a $750,000 grant to put water lines in District 4. I don't hear people complaining about brown water no more. So that was a big accomplishment. I enjoyed working as a county commissioner for the citizens of Gulf County. I especially enjoyed working for the citizens of District 4. We got a lot of things accomplished during that time. And to me, the most important project that I worked on, so many people fought against this project. It really surprised me of the people who fought against this project, throwing rocks, putting their hands behind their back. But we got it through. It was a $5.5 million housing project. We're going to put 50 new affordable apartments in District 4 for people. I feel real good about that. I want to thank these commissioners also working with me. See, when I first started out, the park, one of the parks in District 4 did not have a restroom in it. With the help of this board, we put a restroom in it. I really want to thank this commissioner, and I really want to thank staff working with me, because if it wasn't for this staff, lots of it wouldn't have got done. Mr. Butler, you got your hands full. You got 5 different personalities up here you have to deal with. And I commend you for doing a good job.
Thank you.
Smiley, would you please join me? Please. First of all, I want to thank you. We came on together. We did get a lot accomplished. We surely did, all 4 people. But I want to present this from the Board of County Commissioners. It says, Commissioner Tan Smiley for his exceptional service as a representative of the citizens of District 4, Gulf County Board of County Commissioners from November 2010 through November 2014. Presented this 28th day of October 2014 by the Gulf County Board of County Commissioners. Commissioner McLemore, Commissioner Bryan, Commissioner McDaniel, and Commissioner Yeager. Thank you for your public service that you've given to the All right, the chair has nothing for the board this morning. At this time, we will go to the thing. We have Mr. Rito. Sir, would you please come up, Appalachia Regional Planning Council. Good morning, Chris. How are you today?
Good to put a face with the name.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Do you have one more?
We probably have an extra one right here.
If you would, give it over to Mrs. Roberts over there, please.
My name is Chris Retail. I'm the Executive Director of the Appalachia Regional Planning Council, and I'm here really today just to introduce myself and to talk a little bit about the Appalachia Regional Planning Council. I've been moving around the region, talking to the different member local governments in our 9-county region, and Gulf County is the last on my stop. Ironically enough, we probably provide more services to Gulf County than any of our counties, so I'm saying that I'm saving the best for last. So I'll start out by just giving a little background on myself. I started at the Appalachia Regional Planning Council in January of '99 as an intern, and then eventually was hired on as an economic development planner. And one of the first projects I worked on was a CDBG grant that helped put water and sewer lines in for the Piggly Wiggly here in Gulf County. I did that for a couple of years, and then I transitioned over to an emergency management planning position, and have held that position approximately 12 years, working with Marshall and Dave Richardson and obviously Don before that. So I do see a lot of familiar faces in here. I'm happy to see that. I stayed on with the council, and then actually Halloween of last year, I was promoted by our board of directors to become the executive director. Our previous director had been there 29 years, and he retired and stepped down, and the board, I was fortunate enough that the board selected me to become the director. It's been a challenge. We've hit some tough financial times like everyone else, but we've been able to stop the bleeding and pull things together, and we're trying to provide more services to our member local governments. The Planning Council itself, just to give you a little background on it, it's an agency that's been around since 1977. Gulf County is the primary member, and obviously Chairman McDaniel serves on our board. Commissioner Bryan served on our board. Michael Hammond is our gubernatorial appointee. And the way the structure of the council is, we have our 9-county region, which is Jefferson County on the east. We move all the way over to Jackson, Calhoun, and Gulf. And we are owned and operated by our member local governments, our counties primarily. They're party to the interlocal agreement that formed the Planning Council in 1977. And we meet bi-monthly, talk about local issues and regional issues. And I guess I'll back up a little bit and talk about why the Planning Council was formed. There's 11 regional planning councils in the state of Florida. They were originally formed by these interlocal agreements that allowed the planning councils to administer state and federal grants. A couple of years later, after the interlocal agreements were signed, the Regional Planning Council Act of 1980 was created by the legislature. It required counties to be members. It set the planning districts, the boundaries of those 11 regional planning councils. And it also gave the regional planning councils some growth management responsibilities. Over the years, those growth management responsibilities have diminished, but we do a lot with, we have 6 staff. And we're involved in a lot of different programs. And one of the biggest challenges since I've come on board is trying to explain to people what it is we actually do. So what I passed out when I first got up here was basically a summary of the 20 or so programs that we've been involved in over the past year. I'm not going to bore you to death and go into detail on all of those, but if you look on there, if you'll see, if it's highlighted in yellow, it's a direct benefit to Gulf County. If it's highlighted in green, the county receives an indirect benefit. The county is a dues-paying member. All of our member local governments pay dues. In fact, one of the first things we had to do when I came on board as director is look at our dues and tinker with that a little bit. Since 1977, our dues have been the same amount, and that's $5,000 apiece for each of the counties. We knew we were probably going to have to adjust that based on some of the funding issues that the Planning Council was dealing with. So fortunate for Gulf County, your dues remain the same. The formula that we implemented was based on a base amount and population, so your dues stays the same, and you all are not going to have to pay any additional dues for quite some time. But I did want to just highlight a couple of the programs that the Planning Council does specifically for Gulf County, if you weren't aware of them. Primarily, Gulf County gets a lot of its assistance from us through the CDBG program. And Bruce Ballister is our economic development planner. We do a lot of technical assistance. We've been doing CDBG work with the county for close to 10 years. In fact, I think he's working on a CDBG in North Port St. Joe right now.
Chris, hold just
Sure.
a moment. I'm going to need a motion for an additional 3 minutes. Got a motion over here, second over here, reset the clock for 3 minutes.
I'll be able to wrap up in 3.
Sure.
Okay.
3 minutes. All right.
Thank you. And another area that we work on with the county is our regional evacuation study. Marshall's aware that this is a study that the planning councils all across the state do. This is a very comprehensive study that looks at surge modeling for approaching tropical storms and hurricanes. It helps calculate clearance times for evacuations. It helps Marshall identify the evacuation zones for the county. We're in the process of updating that now with some additional funding from the state, and we'll wrap that up sometime in the spring of next year. We do a lot of hazardous materials training and planning for the county. A lot of that funding goes to the Tallahassee Fire Department because they're our regional hazmat team. But a lot of that work also comes back to emergency management, so Marshall has that information on his hands. A big part of what the Planning Council does is economic development. One of the major programs that we have is the Small Business Revolving Loan Fund. This fund actually originated from a loan to Raffles Fisheries years back. It was an Economic Development Administration loan that eventually, when it was paid back to the Regional Planning Council, we converted it to a revolving loan fund, which basically allows small businesses, if they want to expand or start up or retain employees, it's all based on jobs. If they're turned down from a commercial lending institution, they can come to the Planning Council, sit down with our loan committee, go over their business plan, look at collateral, and if we have the funds and the loan committee approves it, we grant a loan to a small business. Now, like I said, it's all based on job retention or creation. The loans typically vary from $25,000 to $50,000. The interest rates vary based on the loan and the collateral, but that's been a real success story for the Planning Council, a program we want to continue, a program that we're going to look into additional funds for, because we're at over 600,000 in our portfolio and we're just about loaned out. But the program is actually designed to continue to grow. So as more funds come in, we'll lend out more funds. We are just about at our maximum amount as far as loans, but like I said, we do anticipate that fund to continue to grow and continue to push out, more loans for that. I know I'm limited on time here, so I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Your sheet goes over a lot of the programs, and feel free to contact me anytime if you have any questions.
Chris, let me say for the public and the one watching on television, this program, the Appalachia Regional Planning Council, has helped people in Gulf County. We have people right here in this room today that help get them on their feet and very successful, not only here, but all over this county. I represent the Weaver Hitchcock area. But we have people up there that went to the Appalachia Regional Planning Council seeking help, and they got it. And they're doing good. I want you to report. I think Gulf County is a good place to, when we do, like you say, we're a little bit on hard times right now for money, thanks to the governor not helping us when he should have. But anyway, we get it back up, and if we can help people here in Gulf County, and well, in all the counties, but Gulf County has really prospered some of the people, small business, from this organization. I want to personally say thank you. I know I sat on the board with you. Personally say thank you for what all you do, and the board members.
Thank you very much. We're happy to help.
All right, Mr. Hammond, do you have something?
Just to follow up on a few things, because what you touched about, Gulf County definitely gets the most bang for its buck. For $5,000, we get millions of dollars worth of services from ARPC. The city of Port St. George, just jotting down, has done 12 projects in the last 10 years that ARPC has done the funding for. Things like the hospital. I mean, huge millions of dollars of grant money that funneled through the ARPC that Bruce Ballister, I said he should have moved to Port St. Joe because he does all the CDBG projects on North Side, all the water projects, economic development projects and things that he didn't mention, but that I was on the board 20 years ago, the transportation, coordinated transportation. They do all the coordinated transportation for Gulf County. I think Calhoun, Liberty.
Correct.
Several, not all of our 9 counties, 4 of our 9
9
counties that we do that, but emergency management, hazardous waste generation for folks that change oil. There are literally dozens of things that this small group does. And again, of all the things that you spend taxpayer money on, the $5,000 membership fee to this organization is well spent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chris?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I may, to Chris, over the years, I got about 160, 200 hours of hazmat training to the LEPC and Tallahassee Fire Department, so thank you for all that.
You're welcome. We're happy to help.
That's right. Anyone else? Chris, thank you, and have a safe trip back.
Thank you.
And we'll be seeing you in a few
Thank you
days,
for having me
hopefully.
on the
All right.
20th, November.
I got you. I got to know that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let me. This time, Sarah Hines with the Healthiest Weight Florida Initiative. Is that it? Correct? That's right. Come on up, Miss Sarah. She's with the Florida Department of Health in Gulf County.
All right, my name is Sarah Hines, like you said, and I work for the Florida Department of Health. I've been there for 6 years, and I run the health education programs there. I wanted to talk to y'all today about support for a resolution that supports the Healthiest Weight Florida initiative. So obesity rates in the U.S. have increased dramatically over the last 30 years, and I know that y'all are aware of this. And obesity is now considered an epidemic in the United States. In Florida, only 35% of adults are considered to be at a healthy weight range. 35%. In Gulf County, it's actually 34%. Additionally, 6 out of 10 children born today will be obese by the time they graduate from high school. So for this reason, the Florida Department of Health has declared healthy weight as a top priority. And Florida's county and municipal governments play an important role in decreasing the prevalence of unhealthy weight in their jurisdictions. Local governments can implement a variety of policies and activities that have been shown to increase physical activity levels and improve nutrition. Our community health improvement partners, it's a variety of folks in Gulf County, meet monthly, and they play a significant role in our efforts to increase the percentage of adults and children in a healthy weight range. We focus on healthy environments, and the current activities that are being pursued include providing transportation to and from the farmers markets for access to fresh fruits and vegetables, building outdoor exercise equipment in the parks, which we've worked a lot with the city on, of Port St. Joe, and the implementation of a healthy restaurant program in which locally owned restaurants visibly identify healthier options on their menus. So with that, I'd like your support today for a resolution, and I can quickly read it. It's only a page, if you don't mind. It says, a resolution supporting the Healthiest Weight Florida initiative. Whereas the Gulf County Board of County Commissioners support policies that focus on healthy weight, health and wellness, and healthier lifestyles in all communities. And whereas the Florida Department of Health has launched a healthy weight campaign known as Healthiest Weight Florida, a public-private collaboration to help Florida's children and adults make informed, consistent choices about healthy eating and active living. This program has been embraced by individuals and businesses in many cities, counties, communities. And whereas the State Surgeon General has launched a 2015 Healthy Weight Champion Recognition Program that will recognize local governments in active municipalities, cities, towns, and villages, and 67 counties that implement policies to help people become more physically active and improve nutrition. Best practice policies implemented by communities will be recognized on January 5th, 2015, and whereas 66% of residents in Gulf County are estimated to be overweight or obese, and more than 27% of middle and high school students are considered obese. And whereas nearly 80% of Gulf County adults do not consume at least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables daily, and whereas poor nutritional choices and lack of physical activity are linked to excessive weight and obesity, which increase the risk of diabetes, cancer, heart disease, liver disease, hypertension, and other health conditions. And whereas county officials believe there are important long-term community benefits to be gained by encouraging healthy lifestyles, including a decrease in overweight and obesity in Florida's adults and children, and the associated negative health-related impacts. And whereas city and community partners can work together to ensure that they are in safe places for residents to be active, such as parks, ball fields, and exercise trails. And whereas access to healthy foods has direct impact on the overall health of the community, and planning for fresh food, open space, sidewalks, and parks should be a priority. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Gulf County Board of County Commissioners challenge all local governments, businesses, students, parents, and all residents to participate in the Healthy Weight Florida campaign to foster healthy weight and improve overall health, improve job and school performance, and decrease work and school absenteeism. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Motion to approve this resolution. We got a motion right over here by Commissioner McLemore, second by Commissioner Smiley. Any other board discussion? Questions from Ms. Hines here? Anyone from the audience? If not, no opposition. Motion passed 4-0 for this resolution. If you will supply her with whatever the documents, and we'll get the proper signatures. Anything else? Fine.
That was it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Dr. Hardman. Telecommunications, phone service.
Yes,
whatever.
sir.
All right, reset you.
I actually
here.
have 32 seconds here. That won't work. But I actually have 2 issues. One is the cell service. One is the Save the Cape or the restoration.
Okay, all right, continue.
If you will. I'm bringing you this request from the Coastal Community Association on behalf of citizens and taxpayers in South Gulf County, the South Gulf County Volunteer Fire Department, and Gulf County Sheriff's Office we all request your assistance through the EDC to pursue the construction of cell towers in South Gulf County to improve communication for our sheriff, our volunteers, our EMS, our residents, our businesses, our tourists. For over 2 years, citizens on the Cape and others in the fire department and the sheriff's office have been trying to get cell towers out there, and we've made some progress, but the lack of cell communication causes tremendous concern. There are major safety issues have occurred that have amounted to life and death situations and long-term disabilities resulting from a lack of response times. The lack of communication creates crises. They're well documented. In lieu of time, I'm not going to ask Sheriff Harrison and the fire department to come up here, but I'm sure they will be glad to tell you these things as they come up. The first responders are unable to communicate among themselves. The EMS and the Sheriff's Department can't communicate with each other. There are many sections of the Cape and Indian Pass that actually the sheriff has had to leave the scene and the fire department had to leave the scene to find landlines to communicate the needs they had at the site. From an economic standpoint, anyone in construction industry has to drive round trips of over 50 miles sometimes out to the Cape and back during the day. Many times. I had to go out 3 times yesterday to Ovation because you can't communicate by cell. This is an expense in terms of time. Many of the residents have to have separate landlines, and we live in a land of no communication in the South Gulf County. Coastal Community Association and citizens have been trying to address this negative impact for years. Progress has been made. There are 2 major cell tower builders, and I know more about cell towers than I ever wanted to know, which are businesses, have obtained land and have obtained all the permitting necessary for them to have the cell towers. One is Verizon with a 250-foot tower at the junction of SR 30A and Cape San Blas Road. The other is American Towers with a 50-foot tower near the fire department at the end of the Cape. These would give us consistent communication throughout South Gulf County. Both have indicated that they will allow the Sheriff's Department, the Fire Department, EMS to have...
Hold just a minute, Dr. Hardman. Let me address over here to our attorney. Did I understand you to come before the board representing the coastal community?
Coastal Community Association.
All right. Mr. Attorney, we allowed our 3 minutes. Would you clarify that in our speaking ordinance?
Your speaking ordinance, if you come on behalf of a group, you're allotted 5 versus the 3 on individual. So if Ms. Hardman has other topics under the CCA, then she's speaking on behalf of the group.
Give Roberts 2 minutes. Continue.
Okay. We've contacted Department of, we've contacted Halsey Bashirs, who met with us out there, U.S. Sutherland's office, a number of different people, and have paved some way. But we're basically running into a wall. We have to have the county now take over. Both of these are in economic development zones. We did present to the EDC favorably from their board, but they've requested a formal request. So now we're coming to you. So we're formally requesting that the Economic Development Council in Gulf County undertake the task of working with and obtaining cell towers in South Gulf County. We realize this is staff and their ability to obtain grants and public-private partnerships and what have you are critical for this to happen. So that's our request to you on this issue.
All right, next issue.
Any question?
Yes. Fine gentleman sitting back there, Mr. Rito. I think you know Chris, and with the EDC, we need to all get involved in this.
All right. And I have met with Tuan, given her the confidential contact information that we have on the individuals and the different people involved.
Okay, is that on that topic?
That's on that
All
topic,
right.
yes, sir.
Okay,
Can I
you
get
have
reset,
another-
or do I have to use?
Go ahead, and then we'll
All right.
get board approved.
The second topic, and Commissioner McDaniel, I just want to tell you how much we appreciate your effort for this county and your time and your energies that you've put into things. And you've attended South Gulf County's big meeting on this Save the Cape or restoration, as well as meeting with Halsey out there, as the sheriff has too. We are in a problem with beach restoration again. Beach restoration, by the nature of the beast, is not a one-time thing. We have met with U.S. Sutherland, and he was here at our meeting on October 6th and reported on us to the FEMA and COBRA issues that have put up a block out there for us. Those are still ongoing.
Okay. Now, motion here by Commissioner, I'm sorry, this is
No,
just.
I understand the procedure,
Have a
sir.
second for Dr. Hardman to proceed with this. I have a second, Dr. Hardman. Second. Have a second right over here, all, any opposition, if not, reset the clock, Robert.
We
Dr. Hardman, continue.
Thank you, sir.
It's just procedure.
I understand. We had Michael Dombrowski, MR Engineering, report on the Cape erosion and where we had hot spots and what was happening. As all of you have been aware, if you've been out there recently, where we're losing the sand and where we have lost the sand is between the Stump Hole and Scallop Cove. We have a projection from them that within 2 to 3 years, we will have houses fall if we don't do something. And the problem of time in terms of getting permitting to do something is a 16 to 18-month time side. Halsey Bashirs has worked with us and has suggested a pilot to slow it down and to divert some things. And Warren is up with Halsey, Montford, and the governor's office, and this will be one of the topics they bring up in terms of a line item in the budget to help us with that. The engineering we're requesting to be done by the whole scope of the project. We realize that scope is going to be somewhere between $15 and $16 million. We have both short and long-term goals in that. Dombrowski and we presented to the TDC board to do that engineering, and I'm sure will have to come back for some approval from you, and hope you support that. We are requesting you support us in terms of getting grants and funding throughout this to get this done. We're looking at it out of the box a little bit, as opposed to before where we put it all in one pot and said, here's what we're doing. We're separating it into pieces so that we can protect and buy more time. The last go-round, there were some good things that happened. The northern portion of the Cape received the sand from the southern portion, so they actually are accreted for a little while. Now they'll start going back again. But our most critical area within a 2 to 3 year time is if we don't get something done, we will lose the houses between the rocks and Scallop Cove. So we're really requesting that y'all help us out with this. One of the things we can do is go after different funding. We're talking about PAGs, which are basically piers, and then other structures which are like reefs. Both of those divert and slow down currents and help the sand go into different directions. Well, a pier can be, the PAGs can be a fishing pier. So we're looking at maybe restore money or DEP money or other money that might be able to take care of that piece of the puzzle. And so we're going after pieces and parts of the puzzle. And we really, really need your support to keep the Cape from disappearing. We won't have any land for humans. We won't have any land for turtles or birds if we don't do something. Thank you.
Dr. Hardman, I want to thank you and your team and the people out there for the hard work you've done. And when you get the right people in the right positions, you can get things done. That's been proven time and time again.
I have to commend both your TDC staff and your EDC staff. They do excellent work, and I feel very comfortable that if the county takes this on, that both of these can come to fruition.
Good deal. Thank you, Dr. Hardman. Thank you. All right, next we have Mr. Bill Coran on Government Public Works. Coran.
I'll hand these out to save my time a little bit. Let me get organized up here. Actually, Bill Coran, America Street Ditch.
What was it? There you go.
I tried to come up with a slideshow so I didn't have to walk around. Who's the record? You're the record. So I made these up for the people sitting out there because somehow the individuals don't get slideshows. Okay. All right, yeah.
Cran,
First, let me say, yes, sir.
You have 5 minutes. You have the floor.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Smiley, let me say I'm happy that you've been here 4 years. Hate to see you go. But anyway, sorry about that. I'm here today about the America Street ditch. It's been over a year and still nothing has been done. And don't worry, I'm not dwelling in the past and wasting your time, but looking to the future, we got to admit how we got here. We got 1.3 million plus spent. The drainage is still not working. Holes are appearing. Preble Rish was to fix 5 places and give a report. To my knowledge, we've never seen that report or even the fixes. I have asked repeatedly for weekly inspection reports that were done in order to pay the contractor at the time. I've asked for the final report that's required by law to release the bond company and pay the contractor in full. And I'm requesting those reports again today. So now allow me to show you the pictures, which I can't because I'm not allowed to have a slideshow. But on the corner of American and Ward Street, anybody know who lives there? That was a perfect job. They did the grading great. On the corner of Americus and Selma, great job. They even gave them an oversized manhole, and someone there obviously knows how to shoot an elevation. But now you go down to the corner of Americus and Cortez, the grate is 22 inches out of grade. My property is still flooding. The construction and engineering is bad. It's flawed. It's not working. It's been that way since day one on that project. The entire project was boiled down to 5 fixes, and they didn't happen. Mine was not in one of those 5 fixes. Now we'll go over to the alley between Ponce de Leon and Ward. If you look at the picture there's a nice ditch. They even built that man a little road to his house when they fixed the ditch. You go over to the alley between Ponce de Leon and Cortez, you can see the difference. It hadn't been maintained. The ditch was halfway dug. It just isn't working, and my house is still flooding. So y'all can look at the picture of the house flooding there. Now my question is, Chairman McDaniels, you've been here for 4 years. And 2 years ago, you stated, actually from the record, Commissioner McDaniel stated there needs to be a full investigation on this project. He reported the work was not done correctly and someone needs to be held accountable.
Let me hold you a minute, Mr.
Yep.
Cran. Go ahead, you have 5 minutes for your presentation, and at the end of your presentation, if anybody wants to make any comments or anything, they can. So continue on with your
Okay,
presentation.
well, I mean, and just to, also you said that we need a possible grand jury investigation on that. And then, 2 years later, well, I've lost it here. 2 years later, you voted to pull pages 1 through 19 about the America's Ditch construction, and due to the information packet having some changes on it or something like that. Now, my question is, what is the correct information on this ditch? We've never been told. And this is not a past issue now because my house just flooded a couple of weeks ago, and it's flooded twice since y'all saw me here last. So my question is why do the taxpayers, 1, pay for things they don't get, 2, y'all don't hold their feet to the fire, and then what are y'all going to do about it? Charge the taxpayers again to come back and fix it, or just refuse to just ignore the issue? You know, the special interest groups seem to be protected in this particular instance, but the individual taxpayers who are getting flooded out are not getting any representation or any fixes to help them with what I think is a county job, is to maintain the ditches so people's homes don't flood. You know, the old man that lives on a corner, has been there since 1965, and he's an engineer, was an engineer at the paper mill for 40 years. He told me, he says, every time someone houses floods out here is when the county has messed with these ditches back here. So it's an ongoing problem that needs to be addressed in the future. And I got 6 left. All right, any questions? What do you think, Commissioner McLemore? You voted against this.
I heard you, but I respect your opinion, but we've heard you for 5 minutes. I have no response. I've heard this before,
I know it. Well, I wish my house was in your district. You'd have it fixed.
No, we don't want you in my district.
All right.
Well, we have heard Mr. Cran. We've heard a lot about America's Ditch. Still is not resolved. I have another person over on Columbus, Mr. Hargraves, who has had some new issues with a culvert that was put in, and has some questions about the grade, how it was shot, and he is an engineer, and he has great concerns about the drainage system, and namely the America's Ditch. An issue that I have tried to address for the 2 years that I've been on this board, but this board has voted me down, told me to stop talking about it. Mr. Chairman, as Mr. Coran has said, you made the motion, and that motion was passed 4-1 on this board to remove information from the packet that had already been distributed to the public. And meanwhile, everybody that lives out in that area still has to deal with the problem of drainage. And it seems as though this board just continues to be a roadblock to getting anything resolved out there. And I think that Mr. Coran deserves an answer.
Mr. Chairman, Attorney, not going to get in. We've been down this, and we all know where from what it is. Would you explain on the information packet that it has been altered?
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know specifically, I know it's been a while since we had that issue come up, so, with regards to the ditch, I know, and I just, for the commission and staff, but I believe there was approved a 5-pilot program. I know the engineers went out, from what my understanding is that they've completed that project. They actually did more than 5. I think they said they did 7 or 8. I don't know the status of the actual written report from those pilots, but I know that those pilots had been completed, and if that report has been turned over to the commission. If it is, we certainly can get that and put it on the agenda for the next meeting and hopefully provide you a response. But I do believe that it's been completed. I just don't know where in the transition of it all being done, since I think you had Mr. Rich come to the podium and indicate to you all what the proposed plan was and how he's going to follow up, and I know that they've done that. So, but like I said, without having anything in front of me, I don't have anything for you.
Information packet, it had been altered.
And the public hasn't had any update on what the results were. Maybe the county administrator can enlighten us on what the results were of the 5 places that were fixed and what we are to do going forward. We have been told repeatedly that this is going to be an ongoing issue with the holes that develop through the area from the ditch.
I'll be glad to get a report when I get that report. My understanding as the attorney, the work has been done. But Reese, I think, has done the work. I think I understand they have, instead of excavating 5, they've done like 8. They've been in the process of putting the report together. I think it's forthcoming, and you probably have it by the next meeting.
Good. Thanks, sir. All right, anyone else on the board? Anyone else, Steph? Thank you, Mr. Grant. All right, now, wait, the gentleman gets. Okay. Now let's go to public. Anyone in the public have anything before the board this morning? If you do, be recognized. Young lady over here, come up, please.
Christy McElroy, 1311 Woodward Avenue, Port St. Joe. Okay. Just real quick, Commissioner Smiley, I personally want to thank you for all that you've done for the county and the city and gone beyond the call of duty in so many ways. And I genuinely appreciate everything you've done. The other item that I just want to address real quickly is 9 months ago, there was an ethics charge filed against me. Once you're in the system, because there's only 3 investigators throughout the whole state of Florida, it can take a while for the commission to come forth and before you get your day in court. I did get my day in court on Friday at the Ethics Commission, and it was voted unanimously that the case be dismissed against me. This is, as you well know, I've faced a federal lawsuit, and it's all by the same individuals, chairman of the PAC and the PAC. So it's a grand waste of the taxpayers' money to pursue me relentlessly through the system. But I'm still standing, and Madam Chair of the Ethics Commission said to me, Ms. McElroy, when it's all said and done, I hope you don't not volunteer for your community because it's important that you have volunteers. And I assured her that I would continue to volunteer for my community, no matter how many times these people try to pursue me and waste the taxpayers' dollars. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. All right. Anyone else? Anyone else? No. Motion to it. Second. That's Commissioner Smiley.
If I can get up.